George R.R. Martin will literally do anything other than work on the final book for A Song of Ice and Fire. It's like the guy's dragging his feet. He'd rather go play some woke video game than actually work on his book. Anything. If you give him a task and you could say, "Hey, George, this is going to stop you from writing the book today. Would you like to help me move my house?" Oh, he'll be like, "I'm on it." And he'll be there. He'll bring a rental truck, a U-Haul for you, just because he doesn't want to work on his book. This is where we're at now. So it came out that he's co-writing papers for the American Journal of Physics. What? I don't know what this actually has to do with science. It doesn't have anything to do with science. The science profession is a joke at this point as well, because they're having fantasy writers write fantasy scenarios for them, which is not science whatsoever. And George R.R. Martin is also a joke, as the wind keeps moving, the world keeps turning, and yet there is no conclusion to a Game of Thrones. We'll get into what's happening exactly in just a moment and mock him profusely. So hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all things in fantasy. Your fantasy news central here, my friends. Really appreciate you for being here. And please, I'm a science fiction and fantasy writer myself. This is my fantasy series called The Adventures of Baron von Monocle. It's about an airship crew that is questing around. They fight monsters. They get involved in a war that's pretty brutal that picks up in book 3, guys. Beautiful series here. You're really going to enjoy this. It's not like Game of Thrones because I don't do any of the degeneracy stuff. I don't actually like George R.R. Martin's work at all. And so if you like classic fantasy with real heroism, real fun, I don't do the grimdark thing. I'm bringing it back, guys. This is a lot of fun. Grab it today. It's in the description below. It's been a perennial bestseller because of you guys, which I really, really appreciate. And maybe I'll come out with a new book in this series this year just to show George R.R. Martin how it's done. Grab that. It's available on ebook, print, and audio, and get the whole series. It's a lot of fun, my friends. So, as fans are wondering about George R.R. Martin and if he'll ever finish A Song of Ice and Fire, he's now co-authored a paper in the American Journal of Physics rather than working on completing the book he started with A Game of Thrones. The saga of George R.R. Martin and his epic fantasy has become a joke among fandom. People have been laughing at his inability to write the conclusion to his epic fantasy series for a book that was promised more than 12 years ago. Every few months that pass, the author seems to give a new excuse as to why he's unable to complete his epic fantasy. Now, I actually heard some theories that he actually has been complete for some time. He's just refusing to release it just to bother people. I don't think that's the case, but good theory for the person who presented that to me the other day. At the beginning of 2024, he took to his blog to blame toxic fans for his inability to work. Toxicity is growing. It used to be fun to talk about our favorite books and films. It still is. By the way, I'm going to do an aside here. I brought up yesterday John Carter from 2014, Disney, which was a film version of a Princess of Mars. It didn't get a fair shake. Disney marketing totally killed this film. I should really do a whole essay on this because the marketing failures that they did with this was intentional. It was sabotage of the product. And what happened was they were trying to make a competitor to Star Wars at the time, and they thought, oh, we can bring back Edgar Rice Burroughs and make this our big sci-fi epic. But then they bought Star Wars, and they were like, oh, maybe we'll just keep working on that instead. And so they just completely abandoned the marketing of this film and killed it. That, of course, titling it John Carter was stupid by itself. This went viral on X yesterday, and this is just me talking about my favorite stuff. So there's no toxicity in fandom, and maybe in your fandom, George R.R. Martin. Maybe that's what's going on your side. The woke people are toxic. This is true. And they're angry, and they're just miserable all the time, and that's who you've catered to with your degenerate work, and that's probably the problem you got going there. Having spirited debates with fans who saw things different, it's no longer enough to say, I did not like this book or film, and here's why. People rather talk about stuff they hate than stuff they love, and delight on dancing of the graves of anyone whose film has flopped. Well, this was a flopped film, but I liked it, and so I'm actually I'm cheering this film on, a decade on. Go watch it, guys. It's really worth the watch. All right. In September, he said he had mounting stress levels and spent too much time working on TV shows to finish the project everybody's been waiting for. He said, the first half of my year was pretty miserable. You see, it's him projecting his misery on everybody else, right? Nor did I find much solace in my work, because you didn't do any work. Writing came hard, and though I did produce some new pages of both The Winds of Winter and Blood and Fire, the sequel to Fire and Blood, the second part of my Targaryen history, I would have liked to have turned out a lot more. Womp womp. Then in December, he kind of went mask off, guys. This is 2 months ago. He says, I'm 13 years late. Every time I say that, I'm like, how could I be 13 years late? I don't know. It happens one day at a time. And then he's, he actually joked that he might not finish the book before he dies. Yikes. So political analyst L, who runs a great YouTube stream, if you don't know, said George R. R. Martin just co-authored a research paper for the American Journal of Physics on the evolution of a fictional virus, doing literally anything but writing his last 2 books. And this is it. Posted this. Here's the paper, which is absolutely true. This is the American Journal of Physics right here. Ergodic Lagrangian Dynamics in a Superhero Universe, co-authored by George R. R. Martin right here. Really bizarre. We present a fictional scenario, while undeniably whimsical, provides the foundation for unique exercise in extended problem solving, physics analysis, and quantitative model development. Look at, they use a bunch of words and this is where I hate people who pretend to be smart, because they love doing this, using the big words here, which means, okay, this is actually just totally fake and we just had some fun. It doesn't actually mean anything, but you could use it for critical thinking skills, I guess, and that makes it science-y. I effing love science. Yeah. I mean, that's what these people are like. And it's just ridiculous. There's no reason for this to exist in a physics journal whatsoever. They just did it because George R. R. Martin slapped his name on it and they thought they could get some marketing for their physics journal. That's all this is about. It's all fake. Again, fake science. Starting with the foundational premise of the wildcard shared world superhero universe, we demonstrate how a variety of concepts appropriate to the advanced undergraduate level, ergodicity, functional analysis, Lagrangian mechanics, and other ever-important simplifying approximation can be combined into a rich, coherent mathematical model. The goal is this case study is to develop a useful pedagogical exercise in exploring open-ended research questions that presents, at first glance, no clear path forward. Being both eclectic and lengthy, this exercise offers a unique way for students to apply their core physics and mathematics education to fantasy books. I mean, what? I mean, are you going to think about the physics of Superman when he's on the page in the DC comic? Is that? This is nonsense. I mean, this is modern academic science right here, guys. You can't make this stuff up, and this is probably funded by your tax dollars. That's the dumbest part about all of this. But Elon will fix it, guys. Don't worry about it. It is perhaps best used within a senior honors seminar with a brief elective class. It has no use whatsoever, and I'm not going to read the whole paper here because it is posted online. You can read this entire paper, which, of course, George R. R. Martin didn't do much of this whatsoever. He just wrote his nonsense in his fantasy world that applied to the mathematical principles because he's George R. R. Martin. But it makes him sound smart, makes him sound cool, makes him sound like he's doing very important work. Very important work. Yes, that's why he can't do this kind of thing whatsoever. Can't write Game of Thrones. Doing too much important things, guys. But he'll be at your house. Like I said, if you are moving and you need some help, he'll rent a truck. He'll show up. He'll help you because it's very important work to help you move. And much more important than him doing anything else with the Game of Thrones. You can't make this stuff up, guys. It's really, really ridiculous at this point, and that's why we were mocking it profusely. Leave a comment down below with what you think. Do you think he's going to finish this book before he dies, or do you think it's just going to be let to the winds of winter? Please hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know if you've seen John Carter and if you like that movie. Hey, that's an aside. Let's talk about fun things. And please check out my fantasy series, The Adventures of Baron von Monocle. This is a 6-book series, airship adventuring, heroism, fun, optimism. Grab it today, guys. It's in the description below, and it's available on ebook, print, and audio for your convenience. Appreciate y'all for being here.